It was one of those commutes that turns small hills into impassable mountains. By 4 p.m., 235 was a mess. Traction was bad, visibility was worse. By rush hour, it was a route many tried to avoid altogether in search of a path with less resistance, which led to possibly the worst traffic jam Grand Avenue has ever seen.
Now, I've lived in Des Moines my entire life, and this is just ridiculous. I've been out in blizzards, and traffic has been moving better than this.
Unless you experienced it, what is going on?
I have no idea. Blizzard, craziness.
It's hard to explain how bad it was.
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
Almost everyone we spoke to was traveling or trying to travel from downtown to their homes in West Des Moines. We caught up with people. It wasn't hard to do. At 49th Street, only 40 blocks west of downtown.
I left the Grimes State Office building, and it's been 2 hours. And I just need to get to West Des Moines, that's all.
How long does it usually take you to get home?
15 minutes.
An accident at 63rd and Grand didn't help, neither did the hills, or the snow, or all the drivers who just wanted to avoid 235.
I heard that the freeway was creeping along too, so I feel safer here. I'm used to this. I grew up in Iowa.
Treading water and clinging to chunks of ice, this man struggled to keep his head above the freezing water of the Des Moines River. When the Des Moines Water Rescue Team arrived to bring him a boat, one rescuer even fell through the ice in an attempt to get to him. And when they eventually reached him, they knew they had to act fast.
Sure, he was really cold. It had to be cold, and moving water's worse than standing water.
Corey Comito is the firefighter in the yellow wetsuit you see here on the right, one of the few rescuers who risked their lives by going into the icy river to help this man. They struggled to pull the man to shore, and at times he even resisted.
When hypothermia sets in, I don't think your brain really works right. So he grabbed a hold of the boat. We were trying to tell him to let go of the boat. He wouldn't.
As if the freezing cold water wasn't a big enough challenge, the ice made things even more difficult.
We had to break through the ice, with our hands to get through. It wouldn't hold us.
Several minutes later, they finally made it to shore. By that time, authorities estimate the man had been in the water 15 minutes. Had it been much longer, they believe he wouldn't have survived.
I guess you didn't really think about how difficult it was while you were doing it.
Now this humble firefighter, a man of very few words, is grateful it all worked out the way it did.
We're glad to be able to do our job and help somebody in need.
Burning and crashing to the ground, the cell phone video tells the sad story. In just a matter of hours, a huge fire destroyed the century-old former Yonkers department store building. The flames burned through every floor of the historic site. Video and pictures show massive flames tearing through 701 Walnut. So bright they cast a glow across the entire downtown skyline.
You could hear it several different times, as each face of the building fell. It started to creak and make a little bit of noise, and just a lot of loud banging and clanging, and then huge plume of dust and stuff you see on TV, and don't usually see it in person.
The first calls came in shortly after midnight. Fire crews arrived a few minutes later. About 90% of the entire Des Moines Fire Department battled the fire, but it wasn't long before they had to turn back.
We did an initial movement into the building, but we were turned away rapidly by heat, flame, and the collapse of both interior and exterior.
Eventually, the 8-story building collapsed into just 2 stories of smoldering wreckage. The building was under construction. Crews were turning it into an apartment building. So far, there were no reports of any injuries.
Intense. That's about the only way you can put it. It's intense. And a fury of firefighters and cops doing a wonderful job, keeping people safe and fighting what seems to be a losing battle.
Full day after the Yonkers fire, safety is still a major issue. As wind gusts, dozens of sheets of window glass melted from the heat fall several stories off the hub tower, crashing into debris on the ground. The Des Moines Fire Department called in 2 teams. First, the Iowa Task Force, who dodged the debris as they evaluate the old Yonkers building.
This is by far the most extensive damage that we've responded to.
The task force climbs in the rubble to see what needs to be done before fire investigators can enter.
Looking for breaks and breaches in walls. Is the building tilting at all? The steel, has it elongated? Is it buckled?
The second team called on is the ATF's Federal Response Team, and timing is an issue. The 25-person crew made of specialists from all over the country plan to get to work Monday morning to determine the cause of the fire. Brian O'Keefe says a national team is coming because of the fire's size.
Once the information was provided about the extent of damage, the properties involved, and the value of all these properties, that they felt that they had a legitimate opportunity here to help us in determining the cause and origin.
The Des Moines Fire Department has never asked this federal team to help, but first,
we want to allow that when the team arrives tomorrow and our personnel, they know safe zones to work from if there's any structural integrity issues, so they can make entry and focus on their specific jobs.
Ben Jordan, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
I think every time we come to this place, we're just still in awe and unbelief of what took place way back in 2001.
I know that you have a special kin to what happened on that day. Many of you were here and on duty the day that happened, and this symbol here is a reminder of what's missing from that group of people today.
That day, for those that were living, I think it changes forever.
Many of us today here remember these events of 13 years ago, and I would bet you remember exactly where you were and what you were doing. 72 law enforcement officers mostly lost their lives at the World Trade Center, along with 343 firefighters, paramedics, and 1 fire department chaplain. Over 3,000 children under the age of 18 lost at least one parent.
Looking forward, I am filled with vision. Looking upward, I am filled with strength. Looking within, I discover peace.
My brother died in January of this year. He was a veteran of the Afghanistan War. He spent over 26 years in the military, so it's just kind of a neat part of his final resting place.
They've lost someone close to them. They've served their country, and they're giving them a unique resting place.
Put tie on.
I add the ashes of veterans that have passed away to the Freedom Rock.
We just thought it'd be kind of neat that part of his remains came out to the Freedom Rock because it represents the veterans.
Thank you, Bubba.
It's becoming a little bit of a destination for people, and I'm glad because that means that they're taking time to think about, all these veterans.
I think it's a neat thing, and it's a great tribute that he's given to the Iowans. It's just phenomenal, to pay tribute to our veterans in that way, and to have something that's visible to everybody in the state.
Freedom is the most expensive thing that you own, even if you didn't pay for it yourself.
I'll try and keep doing it. I'm going to do this for as long as I can. I hope people continue to want to come out and see not only what I've created, but continue to thank our veterans. Look at this rock, take all that in, and even if it's just for a day, remember how lucky we are here in this country.
When winters don't quit, the first hint of spring sends wheels spinning.
I mean, there's no place I'd rather be than out on a beautiful morning like this.
In Urbandale, the surest sign it's safe to emerge
Hey, Monty, how's it going? Pretty good, thank you.
is the guy everyone in town
Good morning. Good morning.
seems to know.
Because I'm so recognizable in my chair.
If the thermometer's above 60, you're almost guaranteed to run into
The fun part.
hopefully not literally, Monty Halferty, who loves his city's trails.
Once the leaves come on, this is a beautiful area.
Cerebral palsy put braces on Monty's legs and keeps him in a wheelchair most days. And he'll admit, when it's this beautiful, that just sucks.
I wish I could run for long distances, bike for long distances.
But on board his four-wheeler, there's no room for a woe-is-me attitude,
No, this is some crap right here I'm picking up.
as he's loaded down with grabbers and pokers,
I normally use this one more.
chosen to make sure his suburb
Styrofoam, and of course, come on.
stays spotless. 9 summers ago, Monty noticed the first one,
That is so irritating.
a wrapper that didn't belong. The cigarette butt frustrated him even more.
I'm gonna risk a little off-roading here.
Soon he was driving his chair anywhere he could,
I've fallen into a spring northwest of Douglas.
and some places he shouldn't, to pick up what others dropped.
He'll call me up. Hey, you got time to come pull me out? And I do.
Police got to know Monty the first time their phone rang.
I was mistaken for a dead 80-year-old lady,
He dozed off along the trail. From behind, they couldn't see his beard.
and I just had bleached my hair blonde that summer, which I'll never do again.
Once Sergeant Lang woke him up and noticed all he'd picked up,
It's amazing all the stuff that gets in here.
that old lady found a police force full of admirers.
He can spot trash that most people never see.
How's it going today? Good. Sure is. This is my greatest joy, to be outside.
Tell a nature lover to sit down for a good chunk of the rest of his life, and plenty wouldn't move.
Now you'll get to see me use one of my escape tricks.
Monty won't stop.
Chair, let's behave yourself.
Because after nearly a decade of picking up after others, what he's really found is joy.
I think of it as kind of physical gratitude and reciprocity for all the good life I have here, and I can try to give back in a little bit.
Eric Hansen, KCCI 8 News.
Uh-oh. No, you're not going to roll away from me.
Iowa's news leader.
I mean, this puts me in such a good mood.
Hey! Woo! Iowa State University!
If it's your first time, don't be alarmed.
I just saw someone yelling at the drive-thru.
How are you doing, gorgeous?
When Claudia McMullen works the window at the Ames Golden Arches,
Hickory Park, you could give me some of that smoked meat?
you're in for much more than a burger and fries.
I have 10 to 15 seconds to make someone's day. I'm loving that smile today.
If she doesn't get them to smile in the first 5 seconds,
She called me handsome right away.
she'll find a way.
Ba-da-ba-ba-bum.
She's even won dogs over that were afraid of her.
And the humans are loving it too.
She makes us all giddy.
It's contagious.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, I'm loving you. Have a great day.
What made you start doing that?
Well, I was bored.
McMullen's love for smiles has led to a national title.
There are only 12 of them in the world.
Say ba-da-ba-ba-ba to an official McDonald's brand ambassador.
I'm representing what McDonald's stands for, and that means happy people, happy faces, happy meals.
And a better day for customers who may have started out with a bad one.
It brightened up my lunch.
It will work every day. It should be like that every day.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving ya. Mwah. Have a great day. Bye.
This is kind of an annual event with our Prep Academy program.
I think you'll be fine on this door.
We have groups of 7th graders who have gotten together, and in approximately 3 to 4 hours, they design and construct and actually float their boats in the pool down below Central Campus. If they survive the trip down the stairways, that's a bonus.
This is hilarious because it's Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr!
Now the fun starts.
They had to come up with a name for their team. We're what team? Team Purple.
Team 6, Ninja Turtles. I like water. And it's also allowing us to kind of test out what we've got.
Will you please prepare your boats? Holders go in first, please. We're fast approaching the moment of truth. Will these boats float?
Yeah.
Or sink? On your mark, get set, go! SOS, someone overboard seriously.
It allows them to apply some of their engineering skills and at the same time to get involved with some teamwork.
The kids are learning a lot about how things work in the world, and they're going to test their ideas, and so that makes it great fun. Yes! It's a chance for us to really explore some leadership, some creativity, as well as some science, technology, engineering, and design. Our students do a lot of math and they do a lot of reading, so this is a real opportunity for them to kind of put all their ideas together.
I was second place and I fell in 3 times.
They were thinking, boy, if I had a chance to do this again, this is what I would change. You know, so I think they get just as much out of the failures as they do the successes.
Even a 2-year-old can tell you every face has a call. The signature sound meaning I'm content, I'm hungry, or get your butt over here.
Irving! Greg! Greg!
Pig and pumpkin growers spend all year aiming for blues.
Kenny, baby, I'm ready. Where are you?
In Pioneer Hall, wives climb up on stage and do what comes naturally.
When I need him, I need him.
Holler for their man.
Roy! Roy!
While entertaining the crowd and trying not to blow a vocal cord.
Henry!
But the guys who marry blue ribbon contenders have to be careful buttering her up.
My husband suggested I might have the lungs for it.
This year's champ proved him right.
Daryl! Daryl, barrel, banana, fana, farrell, me, my, Murrow! Daryl!
It made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up a little bit.
Proof years of practice.
Doug! Douglas Dwayne! Where are you, Doug? Doug!
Eventually does pay off.
Irving!
Matthew Bolender is only 12, but very familiar with what happens in a hospital room.
I don't like these wires.
I know, but you can handle it.
Weighing in at 1 pound when he was born premature at 25 weeks, Matthew has developmental delays and other medical issues.
Up here.
We are here for a 48-hour EEG.
The wire is an effort to find why he isn't progressing as he should be.
They itch.
Despite the efforts of Matthew's parents and Renata, his therapy dog,
Look at her face.
Matthew is anxious and knows exactly when he's going home.
On Wednesday, tomorrow.
And one friend he's excited to see,
Molly.
Molly, his therapy horse for the past 8 years, who apparently makes house calls.
I have a surprise for you. Would you like a surprise?
And hospital calls.
Yeah.
Okay, can you come to the window?
Molly.
Who is that?
Molly.
What are they doing?
Look, she's looking up at you.
It is very unusual. It's a pretty special treat.
Matthew made this unusual request after learning about yet another trip to the hospital.
He said, well, I think we need to take her in a trailer and leave her at Mercy, and then I can visit her. So I thought about it for a couple days, and I thought, oh, how special if she could come.
It was a brief reprieve.
And she can't come inside.
No, she can't come inside.
And after 15 minutes,
These wires,
They're fine, we're
they're tangled up.
back to the task at hand, although the simple goal of this complicated visit was achieved.
Put that smile on his face.
Mark Tauschak, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
3 bases and a home plate is all you really need. But in Fort Dodge, you'll find an always free show just past the curve in the road where Baseball Avenue meets National Pastime Road.
It's a great day at the ballpark.
If the sun's out, the neighborhood kids will be too, just like they have been for 46 summers.
It's just kind of a known thing around town. I mean, if you're bored and you want to come out and watch some baseball, it's out here.
And one glimpse of the polka dot monster will tell you Patterson Field's not just another diamond.
I think it's a special place.
Isaac Quintana.
At a time most teenage parks don't bother with a PA.
Strike!
Here, it's part of the show.
Hey, let's take a look at those lucky number tickets again.
Where free raffles every half inning get fans out of the homemade grandstands and past the eye chart on the umpire's room to claim their ticket for a taco or spaghetti dinner. There's evidence it's been like this for decades in the Bat Cave, where wood and metal memories hang.
Ozzie Smith played on this field one time.
But you won't find the real star of this show, who gave today's coach,
This was his baby.
the PA announcer,
He loved baseball. He loved kids.
even the umpire,
Absolutely wonderful man.
their love of this game. In 1966, Jerry Patterson bought 9 acres of junk land near Fort Dodge's gypsum mines.
He started it, just as a plain, simple little ballpark with some fences,
And he was out here morning, noon, and night, until it got dark. He created it from the ground up.
With one goal:
Do I have any chicken dancers out there?
to give every kid a baseball memory. Even if you're more excited about the free snow cone you get for dancing
I'll have a green.
than the outcome of the game.
It was sort of a family night, entertainment, not just baseball, but he included the whole family in it.
Even 2 summers ago, when the stomach cancer started progressing.
He would never let you know. He'd always say he's okay.
Baseball's in your blood, it's forever,
Richie, 2 outs!
When Jerry Patterson died a year and a half ago, his friends made a promise. His baby would live on.
As you can hear, the innocence is still here in the music and the refreshments and everything.
Because there's no doubt Jerry created a beautiful setting.
People will come out here just in the car when I'm working in the morning and just sit for a little while, and look at the ballpark.
But even more important, the colossal memories he's still planting.
I mean, it's Patterson Field. I mean, it's tough to explain, but that's what it is.
In Fort Dodge, Eric Hansen, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader. Step into Oak Ridge's daycare, and hugs are given freely, which is not how that teacher grew up.
You can't even imagine killing, war, fighting.
Somalia was too dangerous to even walk through,
You don't even go outside and see.
let alone raise her family, which is why Sadia Omer headed for the airport the first time.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Back then, her husband had just died, and she was fleeing Somalia with her unborn child. But in doing so, she left behind 7 more.
That day, when I left Mogadishu, and they was crying, and they was all young, and I said, look, maybe I'm bad, mom. And he's saying, no, do never say that, mom. You are most wonderful and beautiful mom in the world.
When she left, Sadia's children were all under 15.
Now you're so close.
So close, yeah.
But after 8 long years, that last hour was the longest. Her thoughts bounced, how she'd settled in Des Moines and learned English, the fight she'd had to get them here, and the long hours she'd worked to support them back in Africa.
And sometimes we don't even have food. I pay my bills here, and I have to pay their bills too.
But this was the day she'd been waiting for. Her youngest was finally going to meet his siblings for the first time.
Because my family's gonna come.
I can't believe this is happening.
So happy for you.
Thank you.
If you hadn't touched your 7 babies in 8 long years,
My brain is like keep thinking. I want to cry.
you'd be a wreck too.
Even she told me I want to smell them, I want to hug them and smell them. I want to feel my kids again.
Once the screen set arrived, those seconds drug until she spotted them and collapsed to the airport floor, only to be picked up by her boy. The first of 7. Work in a daycare and you'll hold plenty of kids. But when they're finally yours,
It's so exciting.
cannot imagine it.
It doesn't matter what's said as long as Mom is here. Eric Hansen, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
You're watching a KCCI 8 News special. Commitment 2014, the United States Senate debate. Presented by KCCI 8, the Des Moines Register, and Simpson College.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Simpson College in Indianola, Iowa for a KCCI and Des Moines Register special event. I'm Kevin Cooney with KCCI News, along with Kathy Obradovich of the Des Moines Register. And tonight, the first debate between the two candidates for U.S. Senate from Iowa, Democrat Bruce Braley and Republican Joni Ernst. Both are vying for the seat of retiring Iowa Senator Tom Harkin. Now, a little bit of news. Many Iowans woke up across the state to the latest poll in this race, a poll done by the Des Moines Register that shows Ms. Ernst leading with likely voters here, 44%, and Mr. Braley with 38%. We will dig deeper into those poll numbers coming up. But a little bit of housekeeping now. Our format will change between the 2 half hours of this debate. It includes the chance for you to tweet us your questions to ask the candidates. If you would so use hashtag #IADebate on Twitter. Again, that's #IADebate. And to begin the debate, each candidate will get 90 seconds for opening remarks. A coin toss before the debate determined that Mr. Braley will give the first opening remarks.
Kevin, thank you and Kathy for moderating tonight's debate. I want to thank the Des Moines Register and KCCI and Simpson College for hosting us. I want to thank the viewing audience here at Simpson and those of you watching on television. And thank you, Senator Ernst. I'm Bruce Braley. I grew up in a working class home in a small farm town called Brooklyn. My mom is a school teacher, and my dad ran a grain elevator and sold insurance before he died in 1981. I grew up working for the Des Moines Register. I got my first job in 3rd grade, and I worked a lot of different jobs to pay my way through college and law school. I met my wife at an Eagles concert in Ames, and we've been married for over 30 years. We have 3 wonderful children we raised in Waterloo, and we're blessed that they're all still living in Iowa. I'm running for the Senate because I'm going to stand up for Iowans, which is what I've been doing for 30 years. I'll work with anyone who has a good idea that's good for Iowa. I'm a bridge builder, not a bridge burner. This election is about a clear choice between moving Iowa forward or following a radical Tea Party agenda that's going to take us backwards. And on issue after issue, Senator Ernst has stood with the Koch brothers and their extreme agenda that's wrong for Iowa. From repealing the federal minimum wage, to privatizing Social Security, to opposing the Farm Bill and the renewable fuel standard. I'm here tonight to listen, to learn, to share my views, and to ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Braley. Ms. Ernst?
Good evening. I would like to thank our hosts tonight, KCCI, the Des Moines Register, Simpson College, and Congressman Braley for joining me on the stage tonight. I am Joni Ernst. I am a mother, I am a soldier, and I am someone who cares deeply about the nation that we are leaving our children. I believe Washington is taking our country in the wrong direction. And for the past 8 years, Congressman Braley has been there. Voting with Nancy Pelosi, higher taxes, bigger government, the Wall Street bailout, Obamacare. This is his Washington record. He can't defend it, so he's running the most negative campaign that Iowans have ever seen. Washington has failed, but I believe in the Iowa way because I believe that Iowans know what's best for Iowa more than politicians in Washington, D.C. And this matters to me because our working class families deserve better. And when Washington is picking those winners and losers, it's almost always our Iowa middle class families that lose. And I will fight hard to protect Social Security and Medicare for seniors like my mom and dad, because our greatest generation has worked so hard for the American dream for our families. And as your next United States Senator, I will fight Washington to make sure that more Americans can achieve that American dream.
Candidates, thank you very much for your opening remarks. And now we're going to move on to the questions. Ms. Ernst? You say philosophically you oppose subsidies, but you support the renewable fuel standard. This viewer wants to know, how long would you make an exception for the renewable fuel standard?
I think until we are on equal footing, and if you look at all the subsidies that are going out there to oil and many other sectors out there within the energy industry, our RFS needs to be on equal footing. So I am someone that will continue to support the RFS. I grew up on a Southwest Iowa farm, and my father is a farmer, a very proud farmer. 1 in 6 jobs are created by the Iowa farmer, and that's why I'm so proud to have the endorsement of the Iowa Farm Bureau. So again, I will continue to support the RFS and do that as your next United States Senator.
If I could respond, I'm not sure that's what Senator Ernst told the Koch brothers when she went to their secret meetings. She said that she was philosophically opposed to the renewable fuel standard, and in a perfect world it wouldn't exist. My support of the renewable fuel standard has been clear, strong, and unequivocal. In my first term in Congress, I voted to triple the RFS, and I've stood up to big oil at every opportunity because their interests are not Iowa values.
I would like to respond. Yes. Congressman Braley, you're not running against these other people. You're running against me. I am a mother, I am a soldier, and I am an independent leader. You are being funded by Tom Steyer, who is a California billionaire extreme environmentalist. So remember, please, that you are running against me, not against any of these other groups. You're running against me.
I realize that, and President Obama's name is not on the ballot. And I'm not going to owe President Obama anything on Election Day. You're going to owe the Koch brothers everything.
I owe them.
Please continue.
Thank you. I owe nobody anything except for these Iowa people. And I will stand up and do what's right for Iowans, not for California extreme environmentalists, not for Senator Harry Reid, not for President Obama, but again for the Iowa people. I am someone that has stood up for my community, my state, and my nation. I have not left my rural roots, but I think, Congressman, you have left those behind in your Beltway ways.
15 seconds to wrap up this topic.
Right.
Minutes typically feel like about a minute. But the ones that drag in a hospital waiting room, those are long enough to reflect.
If you were to take a step back and observe this, you wouldn't know that anything's wrong.
A year and a half ago, Nate and Laura Yoho looked like a model couple in more ways than one. But personal trainers can tell you even their looks can be deceiving.
I found out that I have a tumor, so a brain tumor.
Yes, her.
It's very, very bad. It's very serious, I guess you could say. There's only about a 5%, or I would say 2 to 5% that you're going to be okay.
1 year into a marriage, that's heavy, even for weightlifters.
You're in uncharted territory. You don't know what to feel.
Even her friends since elementary.
We were in Mrs. Lyman's class, and that's when we became best friends.
Couldn't believe this was happening. How could it to the girl who preached healthy living through college?
She would get up at 6 in the morning and work out, make a breakfast while I was still in bed.
Laura kept fighting.
If I'm ever having a bad day, if I just work out as hard as I can, then I'm good to go.
While Nate kept hoping.
I don't think I've ever been more nervous for anything in my life.
But within 9 months,
she knew that it was getting worse, and I could tell.
Laura's fight was over.
All of her family and everybody she was close to was there.
Even the best obituaries struggle to summarize a life.
I always joke and tell my husband that Laura was my soulmate. Sorry, Aaron, but you know, just that one person that you had this unexplainable bond with, and best friend doesn't begin to describe what we had.
But Laura's also contained a surprise. She is survived, it read, by her husband Nate and her daughter Carolyn, due to be born through surrogacy.
She was such an amazing person that, you know, I think a piece of her deserves to live on.
It was a plan they'd shared with only their closest friends.
She said, hopefully someday Nate and I will be able to have a child. And I said, well, if you ever have any trouble carrying a child, You know, I've done it twice. I know I can do it again. I'd be more than happy to do it for you.
My hands are sweaty now just thinking about it.
The young couple had no idea that during Laura's last year, her best friend had already been setting the stage.
Said, I've been going to the doctor and preparing myself for the past year, knowing that I was going to carry this baby, and we were just like, wow.
I really meant that, and so we cried and hugged and decided right then, I'm like, I'm ready, and let's get this going.
Laura lived to see her baby's first black and white ultrasound, find out she was a girl, and know if the shower days before her death was any indication, her weightlifter was going to have plenty of spotters on this one.
And I hope she looks just like her and acts just like her, and I can tell her all about her mom.
She said, you know, whatever happens, happens. A baby is a joy to all, no matter what. And I thought, you know what? And that's why I loved her so much. She knew exactly what to say. And I said, that's right. There's nothing bad that could come out of your baby being here.
Except nerves. 4 months and 2 days after Laura Yoho died,
Oh my gosh, yay!
her sister got a text from the delivery room down the hall
Congratulations, Dad.
and couldn't wait to hug the new grandpa.
She looks good.
Oh. I can tell the look on Nate's face. Everything's okay. Oh. I just got a piece of Laura back just now. Oh, I got part of my daughter back right now. It's awesome.
Every grandpa believes their bundle's a miracle.
It's just...
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, Laura's back.
But after a year of tears that ripped his heart out, the one that landed in his arms delivered pure joy.
There she is.
Yeah.
And immediate comparisons
This is it.
to the mom she'll never meet.
This is crazy, you know, you love something before it ever gets here, and then actually see her is pretty overwhelming.
Nate Yoho knows being a single dad will be life's hardest workout. But Carolyn Elizabeth?
She's going to know how hard her mother tried to be there for her and what kind of person that she was.
Right down to the number of best friends she's had since 2nd grade. Eric Hansen, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
This is breaking news from KCCI 8 News.
Breaking at 5, crews are fighting a 3-alarm fire at a Polk County business right now.
The scene is just southwest of the East Mixmaster. That's where Interstate 80, I-35, and I-235 meet. KCCI's Laura Nichols is live at 2123 Northeast 46th Avenue in Des Moines with the latest on this.
Yes, I'm going to step out of the way right away so you can see what's going on behind me. This video here is pretty crazy. Look at these flames. Look at this smoke. This is 2123 Northeast 46th Street. That's an industrial building. For reference, we are just south of the ARL, north of Euclid. We're told that the business is called the Body Parts Store Incorporated. They have paint and auto parts that they sell. And what we're worried about here, what authorities are worried about, is that there are flammable materials and also toxic materials. Now, joining me now is Sergeant Brandon Braylon with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. You guys have been evacuating people all afternoon since this happened.
Yeah, that's correct. We've been going door to door and trying to make contact with the businesses to the south and southeast. That's the direction the smoke is blowing at this time. We're trying to get those businesses to evacuate just in case the smoke goes towards that direction.
And as far as we know right now, no one's been hurt, but there is a fear of the toxic chemicals. Do you have any idea what's chemicals we're dealing with here?
You know, I don't have any knowledge of any injuries at this time. As far as the chemicals go, we know it's a body parts store, paint supply store, so we know there's chemicals there. We're not sure of the toxicity of them. However, we have Polk County Air Quality Control out here monitoring that, as well as the DNR is out here monitoring runoff.
And you have blocked off roads. What roads are blocked off, and how far are you telling people to evacuate and just stay away?
Yes, we're asking the public to stay away. We have Northeast 22nd Street blocked off from East Euclid all the way up to Northeast 54th Avenue. We also have Broadway, also known as Northeast 46th Avenue, blocked off from Northeast 14th Street, probably at this time blocked off all the way up to Northeast 29th Street.
Okay, so just kind of a recap, you know, are people in danger right now? What are we worried about right now?
Right now, we just want people to stay away from the area, kind of divert traffic away. Main concern right now is going to be the smoke, I believe.
Thank you so much. That's Sergeant Brandon Braceland from the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Deputies have been out here all afternoon since this happened. We haven't even gotten a chance to talk to firefighters yet. As you can tell, they are pretty busy fighting this fire. Just look at these flames and this black smoke in the sky here. The building, just in the past 10 minutes, has started to melt. The metal, as you can see, is just kind of wilting there. We talked to some mechanics who work in the business next door. They were evacuated about a half an hour ago. As you heard from Sergeant Braceland, people just being asked to leave the area, stay away. They don't exactly know what chemicals they're dealing with here, but they know there are toxic chemicals, there are flammable chemicals that they're dealing with here. We actually heard what sounded like some mini explosions right before we went live on the air. We're not exactly sure if they were explosions, but it did sound like it. So far, no one has been injured. We will keep you updated as it goes on. We expect to be here for quite a while. Firefighters expect to be on the scene most of the night. No idea of the cause yet, but we'll bring you the latest information as we gather more of it.
Thank you, Laura Nichols, live on Des Moines' east side, northeast side. We'll go back to Laura as needed during this newscast on KCCI 8 News 6. Also breaking right now, reports of a possible gun on the campus of Iowa Central Community College. That is in Fort Dodge, about an hour and a half north of Des Moines. Students received this text about the situation. Reported gun on Fort Dodge campus approximately 3:30 p.m. Fort Dodge Police Department on scene, lockdown enforced until further notice. Now, KCCI has a crew on the way to Fort Dodge right now, so be sure to look for updates for these breaking stories on air and online at kcci.com.
A major announcement today from Dolls Foods. The company is filing for bankruptcy and another company is taking over. Team 8 coverage tonight. KCCI's Marcus McIntosh and Mark Tauschek are live with this decision.
Now, we met with Dolls shoppers today who are hearing about the bankruptcy and sale for the very first time from us. Most say the news is disappointing, but some say it could be a good thing in the long run.
Charlie Lake has been shopping at the Dolls on Ingersoll for 50 years.
I saw this store come out of the ground.
When Lake heard the news of the bankruptcy and sale,
I wasn't a bit surprised. We've watched this for I don't know how long now.
But it is an announcement that is leading to questions and concerns.
I don't know what the company is, but let's hope that they keep the stores open and don't just close them.
Associated Wholesale Grocers Incorporated is the company that has a purchase agreement with Dolls Foods. The companies released a joint statement this morning. Associated Wholesale Grocers seems to be offering hope. Its statement reads, in part, the stores will be remodeled and updated and steps taken to build a new brand and identity for the Dolls stores. Dolls' statement makes it clear as far as the grocery stores are concerned, it is business as usual. Their statement reads, this process does not affect Dolls store operations. All Dolls locations will continue to operate as normal during this process. In the long run, there is hope from those who shop at Dolls that what is going on now is just a speed bump leading to a long and prosperous future.
Apparently, it hasn't been growing with the current owners. I mean, they're bringing in new management, new ship, and running a new ship. You know, maybe they'll sail in a different direction. Hopefully, it's successful.
So hopefully, it will help them within the community to be the great store that I think that they are.
Now, again, the statement from Associated Wholesale Grocers Incorporated seems to be an indication that there will eventually be a name change. Now, that is a question I wanted to ask, but phone calls to Dolls Foods and Associated Wholesale Grocers have not been returned at this point. Now, KCCI's Mark Tauschek joins us live to explain what went wrong with Dolls. Mark?
Yeah, well, Marcus, according to an associate professor of finance at Drake University that I spoke with today, Dolls has fallen into a very undesirable spot in our marketplace.
Hy-Vee is the market leader for grocers in central Iowa, expanding at a dizzying pace with larger and larger stores that offer a long list of services. While Dolls, a longtime Metro favorite way before Hy-Vee showed up, has fallen way behind. The signs were there, announcing the closure of 3 stores, and news last month that former Dolls workers will not receive scheduled retirement plan payments this year.
Not able to keep up with and afford what the Hy-Vee big stores do, but they're better and fancier, and they do more things than the Fairways and the Aldis. And so they're kind of in the middle ground, and that's a really tough market to be in terms of between the really higher-end type of idea and the lower-end type of idea, and that kind of leaves them stranded.
Dr. Tom Root teaches finance at Drake University. He says the next step for the owners of Dolls must be to restructure and find a niche they can survive in, either pouring a lot of money into improving the product or cutting costs and focusing on competing with the Aldis and Fairways of the supermarket world.
Coming up tonight at 6, some details from those bankruptcy filings, plus recognizable names on the list of Dolls creditors that are owed substantial amounts of money. Plus, we'll tell you how the president of the Iowa Grocery Industry Association says this could affect competition here in the Metro. Live in Des Moines, Mark Tauschek, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Well, hope you got out and enjoyed the weather this afternoon because it could be the last nice day for several months. Temperatures are rapidly dropping from the 60s to 30s across the state of Iowa. KCCI's Kevin Cooney is following the cold and some snow right now.
Yeah, a lot of snow, Steve. As a matter of fact, winter doesn't officially begin for more than 6 weeks or so, but the upper Midwest is getting a very cold and snowy preview. It's tough sledding for commuters across the upper Midwest as the first big snow of the season comes down. Drivers in places like Duluth are having trouble.
Stepped out of my car to go talk to the lady in front of me. A few more vehicles hit my car. It's kind of a landslide of cars. Everything slid down the hill.
The storm that actually started in Alaska and then dropped into the Dakotas is covering roads in ice and snow from Minneapolis to Wausau, Wisconsin, and 16 inches of snow could fall by Tuesday night. Other parts of the region are bracing for 1.5 feet. Forecasters say frigid winds are also blowing in from the north, and the big chill will be felt as far south as Georgia.
We're looking at a blast of Arctic air coming in that could take temperatures anywhere from 10 to 50 degrees below average.
The first big storm of the season also sent people scrambling for snow tires and other supplies.
I didn't believe it, but as soon as I walked out the door, I knew that I was going to have to take care of business.
Well, millions of people are in the same boat. Overnight lows across the region expected to be below zero. Forecasters predict Montana may not get out of the single digits all week long.
Certainly the next 1 to 2 weeks across the upper Midwest will be cold. We're seeing that precipitation now breaking out, especially across South Dakota, eventually into Minnesota already. 6 to 8 inches of snow in South Dakota, but this is just going to be a glancing blow across far northern Iowa. Just not expecting much of anything significant here in central Iowa. The big news tonight will be the cold. Now look at the change in temperatures from 60 plus over southeast Iowa now to 29 at Sioux City. Obviously, the cold front is pushed into western Iowa, and we will see those temperatures continue to fall. Mid-40s, eventually getting down around 40 by 9. 11 o'clock tonight, a brisk northwest wind, maybe a little bit of light freezing mix, and 36 degrees. Prepare for big changes in temperature and wind this evening.
Thank you, John. New at 5, an autopsy is complete in the death of an Iowa State University student. The Johnson County Attorney's Office and Iowa City Police have those results. 20-year-old Tong Shou's body was found in the trunk of a car in Iowa City back on September 26th. She was last heard from on September 8th. Authorities say a person of interest fled to China shortly after Shou's disappearance. Bond is set at $1 million for a 17-year-old charged with murder. Keith Collins was arrested Saturday morning following the death of 24-year-old Aaron McHenry of Rockford, Illinois. Authorities say Collins fatally shot McHenry. His body was found Friday in a driveway with at least one gunshot wound to the head. Police say the shooting may have been drug-related. The trial for an Iowa mother charged with faking her daughter's cancer will be moved to a different county. 30-year-old Letha Slauson will now stand trial in Mills County instead of Cass County. Defense attorneys say extensive media coverage prevents Slauson from getting a fair trial in her home county. Slauson's trial is scheduled to begin next week.
Well, it's been a tough season for Iowa State Cyclone football fans. One loss after another, including Saturday's 20-point disappointment at Kansas. KCCI's Vanessa Peng talked with some fans today.
Cummings, end zone, 1-9, touchdown.
Cyclone fans were hoping Saturday's game would be the one to change it all around.
The season has been a letdown.
Just disappointed.
Turned out to be another disappointing loss.
Touchdown, Jayhawks!
I'm feeling pretty bad because last year at least we were progressing. As the year went on, this year we're just getting worse, getting blown out by Kansas.
Fans tell me the games are tough to watch.
It's strict!
I guess the students just ignore the team and don't attend the games.
I still go to the games, but I definitely do leave early.
With 3 more games left in the season, they say they aren't giving up just yet.
I'm always calling the upset. I'm always rooting for the Cyclones, and I always think they can win, but I'm hoping, but not optimistic.
Even then, fans say they'll stay loyal.
I've been a Cyclone fan since I was a little kid.
So even if they're doing bad?
Yeah, even if they're doing bad, I'm going to still root for them.
I've been a fan since I was 2. I mean, I was raised as a Cyclone, and so you don't quit on that. I'm a Cyclone for life.
KCCI's Vanessa Pang reporting. Fans say Saturday's game against Texas Tech at Jack Trice Stadium could be the one. Kickoff is set for 2:30. And we continue to follow the breaking news right now at 5. A live picture of a large fire on the northeast side of Des Moines. This is a business called the Body Parts Store Incorporated. Crews are on the scene and they continue to battle this big fire.
This is Iowa's news leader. This is KCCI 8 News at 5 with Steve Carlin, Stacy Horst, and Chief Meteorologist John McLaughlin.
And we continue to follow breaking news this half hour. Crews are fighting a massive warehouse fire in Polk County right now.
KCCI's Laura Nichols is live at 2123 Northeast 46th Avenue in Des Moines with the latest on this.
Yes, firefighters still on scene here. Let me step out of the way so you can see what's going on. You can see a lot less flames, a lot more smoke since the last live hit we did. The building is also starting to cave in, as you can see, a lot of the metal wilting here. Now, this building is an industrial building here. It is actually the Body Parts Store Incorporated. We're told they have auto parts, they have paint. We're also told that there could be chemicals that are toxic or chemicals that are flammable. So that's why authorities are keeping everyone as far away as they can. Neighboring businesses have been evacuated. We talked to some mechanics at the business next door. They were told to leave immediately for safety reasons. Authorities are also keeping people out of the wind because they're worried about the toxins in the smoke. If you are around this area, the authorities are urging you just to stay away at this point. They're also not sure with these possible flammable chemicals if something could explode here. So right now they're just keeping an eye on everything, still fighting the flames, still dealing with the smoke. We're told no one is hurt, which is the good news here. Just obviously this business is a total loss. We're told this business is the Body Parts Store Incorporated, and just a little bit of information here. That building used to be on Northeast 54th, that business, and it actually burned down at that location and moved here for that reason, and now it has burned down here. So we're not exactly sure, if that's a coincidence or what the deal is, but we are told it burned down at the previous location, and now it's burning down here. So no cause at this time. Authorities are still investigating, but we will keep you updated as we find out more information. Live in Polk County, Laura Nichols, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
A lot of folks talking about that fire, and a lot of folks talking about some big changes in weather. The good news right now is anything on radar is very, very light. We've been watching our webcams up around Algona and northwest Iowa, and what you see on there as snow or mix really not even reaching the ground yet. But as you head up into Minnesota and the Dakotas, a much different story. What you will be noticing even over the next couple of hours here in the metro is a very, very strong northwest wind. It's kicked in already now, 25 miles an hour or so, and that is driving those temperatures downward. In fact, over northwest Iowa, it's more than 30 degrees cooler than what we're seeing to the south. So 60 plus as you head southeast of Ottumwa, upper 20s now, Sioux City. It's been a while since we've talked about wind chill factors, but with that wind and also those temperatures falling, look at this, mid-teens now across northwest Iowa. So definitely some changes on the way. With the wind, Wind advisory now until 6 a.m. just to the west of the metro. We'll see gusts in excess of 35 across much of western Iowa through the nighttime hours. Now, temperature-wise, some big changes over the next couple of hours. By about 7, 38 degrees, strong northwest winds, 15 to 35. 35 degrees by mid-evening tonight, and by late evening 33. Any precipitation here in central Iowa starts as a little drizzle, may turn into a little wintry mix, but again, we're talking minor amounts here in the Des Moines area and mainly during the overnight. Up to the north, that's where all the snow is. If you're heading up into the Minneapolis area, back towards Sioux Falls, significant winter storm up there. We're just kind of on the edge of it here in central Iowa. Very strong northwest winds will pour in the cold air overnight. As this exits, it will keep it windy all day tomorrow, cloudy, very, very cold. And again, not a huge break from that cold. Now, as far as what's happening in our area, again, a little bit of a mix across the northwest tonight as that cold air pours in. We could see some minor snowfall accumulations. We're talking about a dusting here in central Iowa, maybe getting up around an inch or so across the northern counties. And this will be pulling on through during the early morning hours Tuesday. And then Tuesday afternoon, we're just talking clouds, cold, and very windy conditions. So 27 tonight, light wintry mix, very blustery with those northwesterly winds. During the day tomorrow, check out the highs. Only in the low 30s, cloudy skies, and the wind will stay up. It'll be strongest in the morning, but even during the afternoon, 15 to 25, could eke out a few flurries in the cold air tomorrow. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, very little change, upper 20s, lower 30s. As we head into next weekend, right now, some low amounts of snow possible, upper 20s to low 30s through Saturday, Sunday. Will it get better next week? Unfortunately not. We were going to keep this extremely cold weather pattern in play for at least the next 10 days.
Thank you, John. The only thing to tell you about in traffic this afternoon is due to that big fire up at 2123 Northeast 46th Avenue, which is also known as Broadway in Northeast Des Moines. That fire has closed Broadway at Northeast 14th Street. Northbound traffic on Delaware is blocked at Euclid, so just please avoid this area. They're trying to fight that fire up there, and they don't need any gawkers.
And speaking of that fire, let's take another live look. We are continuing to follow this breaking news right now. This is a live picture of that large fire northeast of Des Moines, on Des Moines' northeast side. A business called Body Parts Store Incorporated. Crews are on the scene continuing to battle this blaze, and we have a crew on the scene, been telling you about this all afternoon. We will keep you updated on air and online. We'll be right back. An Iowa cancer patient got the thrill of a lifetime from a legendary performer.
She did. When Garth Brooks saw the unique sign a fan was holding up at a concert, he took a moment to give her a night that she will never forget. Teresa Shaw of Osage has been fighting stage 3 breast cancer for 5 months. She and her daughter took a much-needed break from treatment to attend Brooks's concert in Minneapolis, and she brought a sign. It said, "Chemo this morning, Garth tonight, enjoying the dance." Brooks saw the sign, and he stopped the show. Yeah, go ahead and kick it. Brooks gave Shaw a kiss and his guitar. His mother and sister both died of cancer.
Stay with us, everyone. Breaking news updates next on KCCI 8 News at 5.
Is today's market report.
And we continue to follow breaking stories at 5.
Crews continue to fight a massive business fire on Des Moines' northeast side, 2123 Northeast 46th Avenue to be exact. Firefighters having to be careful due to barrels of flammable liquid inside this warehouse. This fire started around 3:30 this afternoon. Nobody has hurt. The cause still under investigation.
Also breaking right now, reports of a possible gun on campus at Iowa Central Community College. The school is located in Fort Dodge, about an hour and a half north of Des Moines. School is on lockdown until further notice. KCCI has a crew on the way to the scene, so look for updates on air and online at kcci.com.
And John, here comes the change.
Changes are taking place even as we speak. Temperatures mid-40s right now, was 60 just a bit ago. We'll be in the 30s this evening, getting down into the upper 20s early. A little light mix of wintry weather moving through during the early morning hours.
Thank you, John. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Our next newscast is KCCI 8 News at 6. Right now, it's CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. Stay tuned for that.